Behaviour Interactive is fucking done it again. They took what should have been the most interesting killer concepts they've produced in years, the first killer created alongside the community no less, and immediately began hammering her power flat enough to rival Cher's vocal range. The Judgement isn't even officially out yet, and Behaviour is already fitting Divine Light with fucking training wheels for the survivors. For anyone who missed this particular clown procession, Divine Light is the killer's main weapon. The celestial pillar that the killer must position, steer, predict, and launch across the map. It's not a huntress hatchet, it's not Deathslinger's rifle. It requires the killer to anticipate where a survivor will be, maneuver the beam into position, commit to the shot, and pray the target doesn't move 6 inches to the left. It was already shaping up to be one of the hardest powers in the game to use consistently. So naturally, Behaviour looked at this mechanically demanding killer and asked, how can we make her harder to play while making her opponents require even less situational awareness? Their answer? Give survivors an even clearer warning that Divine Light is heading their way, including a visual indicator and greater visibility through obstacles. At the same time, slash the Judgment's ability to steer the beam after casting it while Zealous. The killer must calculate distance, positioning, timing, prediction, terrain, and movement. The survivor must now wait for the game to flash a giant celestial "move your ass" warning across the screen. And the justification offered for this? Well, you see, some streamers might be sitting on a generator, looking away from the game, reading their chat, saying very funny things, and then they might get hit by a pillar that seemingly came out of nowhere. I'm sorry. What? That is not a balance concern. That's not an accessibility issue. That is not evidence that a power lacks counterplay. That is someone deliberately taking their eyes off the fucking game and suffering the completely predictable consequences of not looking at the fucking game. If a streamer is reading chat and misses a skill check, should generators complete themselves? If Ghostface sneaks up while they're thanking somebody for a tier 3 sub, should an air raid siren go off? If they wander into one of the trapper's traps because they were busy reading donos, should the bear trap suddenly become fluorescent and start singing Baby Shark? Should Huntress Hatchet stop midair and send a formal written notice 3 business days before impact? Dear survivor, our records indicate that an axe is currently approaching the rear of your skull. Please dodge at your earliest convenience. This is a competitive multiplayer game. Paying attention is part of playing it. If you voluntarily divide your attention between the match, your chat, Spotify, Subway Surfers, a podcast, and a fucking season of Grey's Anatomy playing on the second monitor, that's your fucking problem. Your Twitch chat is not a 5th survivor perk. And this is exactly why killer players roll their eyes hard enough to glimpse their own frontal lobes whenever somebody insists that Behaviour doesn't favor survivors. Sure, Jan. Because I cannot recall the last time Behaviour weakened a survivor mechanic on the grounds that a killer streamer might be distracted while reading donos. They aren't giving Deathslinger aim assist because the killer looked at chat. They aren't putting a crosshair on Huntress because somebody was thanking their latest sub. They aren't automatically steering Blight around obstacles because the player glanced at their second monitor. When the killer isn't paying attention, the generators explode into completion and the match ends in 6 minutes. When the survivor isn't paying attention, apparently the game needs to reach around through the monitor, gently take them by the hand, wipe the drool from their chin and whisper, "Don't worry, sweetheart. The mean killer is about to use her power. Here's a special warning so you know when to move." That isn't balance. That's daycare. The entire appeal of Divine Light was its long-range threat. The Judgement could make an intelligent prediction, send the pillar through the environment, and punish a survivor who became complacent. The survivor's counterplay was awareness. Listen for the audio cue, watch the surroundings, anticipate where the Judgement might be firing, and get off the generator when something seems wrong. That's called skill expression. The killer expresses skill by landing the shot. The survivor expresses skill by recognizing and evading it. But Behaviour apparently saw that interaction and decided one side was expressing entirely too much skill, while the other might be too busy reading a message from Pussy Slayer 420 thanking them for another thrilling evening of holding M1. So now the game itself has to announce the attack. Why learn? Why adapt? Why maintain awareness? Why develop counterplay through actual experience when Behaviour could simply staple a warning label to every remotely threatening killer mechanic? And remember, this is the community-created chapter. Players spent more than a year participating in the Grimoire, voting on concepts, and watching the Judgement take shape. This should have been a triumphant example of Behaviour working with its community to produce something strange, ambitious, and mechanically distinct. Instead, they've reached the finish line, pulled out the industrial belt sander, and started grinding away everything that might require survivors to pay attention. It's the most Behaviour thing imaginable. Develop an excellent idea, create an ambitious power, give it a high skill ceiling, then panic because somebody on Twitch got hit while looking in another fucking direction. If Divine Light proves oppressive after release, after ordinary players have faced it, learned its cues, developed counterplay, and produced meaningful match data, then adjust it. But preemptively kneecapping a difficult killer because players who were not watching the game failed to respond to an attack is absolute lunacy. Revert the excessive warning, restore the Zealous steering, release the killer. Then let the player base do that terrifying forbidden thing Behaviour seems determined to prevent. Pay attention, learn, and fucking adapt.